Welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started here. So first, I'd just like to ask someone to make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. If I could just get someone to... Nice. Bird shirt. And second? Nice. Thank you very much. Do you need the names? Okay. Okay, so first order of business, we'll have 10 minutes of public forum. If anyone has anything they'd like to say, talk about, we just ask that you keep your allotted time to 2 minutes. And try to fit as many people in as we can. So, does anyone have anything they'd like to present or talk about? Yeah.
Are people aware that we started the meeting? Thank you. My name's Lucy Gluck. I live on Blodgett Street, which I believe is Ward 2. I always forget. She, her pronouns. So, has it seemed like the F-35s are flying even more right now? Have you been hearing them? Yeah. They're fucking tearing up the sky right now, these military jets. And I am really fed up. I've been talking to my counselor, Gene Bergman, about it. I know Milo's aware of it. And the city council's going to hopefully take some action. But we really need some relief from these jets. I mean, it's dangerous, it's disgusting, it's traumatic. And so I'm going to just keep raising it because it seems like they're preparing to go do some war thing. I don't know what. There are more of them, it's louder. And I just wanted to say, it's really bad. We need help.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to? Yeah. Also, if I could just speak, my name is Mark. I live on the corner of Decatur and North Winooski. I use he, him pronouns. And on behalf of the steering committee, Grace, Kaysen, Charlie, and Lauren, we're all happy to be here with you all.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Megan Humphrey, she, her pronouns, and I live on St. Louis Street, which is the best street in the Old North End, Burlington even. And I just wanted to say that I have retired from HANDS, which was food for older adults who are low income, and now I've gone crazy and I am making craft bags for kids who are unhoused, so they're in homeless shelters and or going to food shelves or something like that. So it's helping me clean out my studio, which is good. But I do need art supplies if anyone has new art supplies and or help stuffing the craft bags and or donating some money toward it. Any of those would be very helpful. Thank you very much.
Pam, how would someone get in touch with you to offer assistance?
You could just see me here at the meeting, and I can give you my email or phone number. Thank you.
Thank you. Peace and blessings, peeps. My name is Aurora Calderon. I am a student at Mercy Connections, and we have a wonderful program. We offer a plethora of classes for personal development, for business development, and for tutoring, and a couple of other different things. What I want to actually talk to you guys about today is our Mercy Marketplace. I take classes there. Marketplace is a program that's designed to help you create your crafts and present them to the public. So I wanted to let you guys know about our craft fair that we'll be hosting on November 22nd. It's going to be from 11 to 3 o'clock. And there are so many different crafts that are offered there, from mugs to stickers to cards and photographs. I personally offer jewelry, and Melody Pond has colored some of our pieces, so she will be a tiny artist featured there. But our craft fair, we have things that are for a lot of different goodness, a lot of different price points. So we invite you guys to come out. There's a flyer out there, and there will be several all around the community. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Sorry, one more time. What's the address in the date again?
The address is at Mercy Marketplace. It's at Mercy Connections, which is 255 South Champlain Street. It's in Suite 8. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else?
I have one on behalf of the Richard Kemp Center. So they're having a back-to-school block party this Saturday from 12 to 5 at the Kemp Center, which is 372 North Winooski. There will be a bounce house and music and face painting and more. And you can also support their winter gear drive. And if you have any questions, I have a flyer. I also assume I hope there are flyers around the community as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say? Okay. Well, then we'll jump right into it. First, we'll be hearing from Mary Danko with the Fletcher Free Library. Here she is.
You can go ahead, Brian. Or stay back here, whichever you're more comfortable with.
I can go front. Thank you all for having me. My name is Mary Danko. I'm the director at the Fletcher Free Library. Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you so much. I was trying to get here in September. I did not because September is National Library Card Sign Up Month. So I like to go out and visit the NPAs and remind people about the power of having a library card. I think you all know that libraries are really grounded in intellectual freedom and freedom of speech, and our work is really about the power of having free access to that information and those stories, which is to make us a strong democracy. So we're proud of the work that we do and the access that we provide, and I like to remind people we have like different ways that we do that. So we've got our physical building that you know is right downtown, and you can come in there and you have access to all kinds of things, books and DVDs and programming and spaces and computer center and printing and scanning and all that good stuff. And then we also have our digital services that we provide. And you may not know this, but with your library card, you have access to Consumer Reports and the New York Times and all kinds of ebooks and audiobooks and some streaming for movies. And all you need is your library card. And librarians are there to help you set up those services that you would like to use. One of our more recent services that some of you might be interested in is we have Foundation Directory that you can access at the library. Oh, I'm seeing a fan out there. So if you're on a board at another nonprofit or you're interested in researching grants, you can come to our library. You can either use your laptop or use our computer center, get onto this platform and research all kinds of grants that are out there. Librarians are there to help you. It's pretty intuitive. There's a couple tips and tricks we can give you, but it's a great way to look for funding for the different projects and the nonprofits that you might be working with. The one thing we ask is that if you are successful with a grant through this service, let us know, because we want to know that this is providing a good value for you. So I will leave it at that, but open it up for questions. Yeah. Good question. What should you bring if you want to get a library card? We do ask for some proof of residency. So if you're got a utility bill, if you're a renter, if you have a lease, and we will try and be as creative and work with you on that. Thank you for the question, because I will also add, if you have friends, colleagues, or family who work in Burlington, if you work in Burlington, you're eligible for a library card as well, and we just ask for some sort of show of employment. It could be an ID badge or a payroll stub or something like that. Anybody else have any questions?
How's the construction going at the library?
Oh, great. So we did a building assessment, and we were discovered that the outside of our 1904 Carnegie building, which I happen to have bias and think it's one of the most beautiful buildings in downtown Burlington, was really in need of some deep preservation work, which has involved repointing brick, the stone. The windows have been taken out. They've been sent away to be refurbished. It's about a $2.8 million project. We've gotten funding from the city, from the National Park Service. We did have a grant from the National Endowment of Humanities that was clawed back by this administration. But our Friends of the Fletcher Free Library, which is our 501c3 nonprofit, have stepped up and are filling that gap. We hope that that work will be done about mid-December. And it'll be beautiful. Building is over 120 years old, still has the original roof. Yeah, Lauren.
Are you able to talk at all about the Green Mountain Book Festival, Literary Festival in a couple of weeks? Are you able to give a quick overview of that? I'm putting you on the spot.
That one I can't, but I know
Okay.
it's on the website. It's John Scalzi, and it's been a partnership that we've been doing with Phoenix Books and some other organizations. And I believe there is a panel component too, but I don't know the details. But it's actually a good segue in. We do so much at the library that even this lady doesn't keep track of everything, but it is all on our website, and we do send out a bi-weekly newsletter, so if you're not on that, you can get on that. But between our youth programs, our adult programs, and our teen tween programs, our library is hopping every minute of the day. Any other questions?
So what is the greatest need of the library? What's your 5-year plan, 10-year plan for something to develop at the library?
Well, that's a good question. I think about it in a few ways. Like, we're still thinking about the remodeling that we have to do on the interior of our library as well. And the other way I think about it is the programming that we're trying to meet the needs of the community. And so we really are thinking also about, we know that there's a housing crisis. How can the library be a help in that way? Last year we did a bunch of programs during National Housing Month during April. We're also well aware that there's a climate crisis right now. So always pinpointing our programming, our work around these things that we feel that the whole community needs.
So what's the library doing for Halloween?
I don't think we're doing anything for Halloween. we always have, I will say this, we always have really great book displays that happen, so we'll have a lot of book displays about that. And right now, our book display is about Banned Book Week. So, and I will be doing a talk, I think it's October 29th, about libraries and intellectual freedom and freedom of speech. But the increase in challenges in books in public libraries across the nation has gone up by thousands. So about 10, 20 years ago, and we keep track of this through the American Library Association, maybe we would have 200, 300 book challenges a year. And in the last year, we've had over 4,000, 5,000 book challenges. So right now, we're trying to highlight that freedom of speech lives on our library bookshelves. And we, thank you. And nobody should be censoring books. Nobody should be taking away people's right to read what they want to read. We don't put books in your bag when you're leaving the library and force you to read books off our shelves. You come in and you browse our shelves and you pick the books that you want to pick. And hopefully they are ways that you learn more about the world, you learn more about others, you learn more about yourself, and we expand humanity that way. So right now, this threat that's happening, not here in Vermont, we're doing pretty well here. We just passed some great legislation statewide to protect those freedoms, but my colleagues in other states right now are not doing so well, and they are constantly battling legislation. And so we have to think about it as a national crisis when we think about all these different liberties that are being taken away, and public libraries are being targeted in that way.
I have that was loud. I have a quick comment, and that is that you have a community outreach coordinator, Juliana, who comes to Decker Towers, where I'm a social worker, and it is much appreciated. So I just wanted to thank you for prioritizing that and allowing people who would not necessarily have access to the books to be able to choose books and to have them out for a month. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you. Because outreach is another piece that we do, and Julie also goes to a lot of the different senior housing and senior centers in the area.
Hi, I just wanted to mention, last time I was in the library, I noticed that you have a tower where you can charge your phone, and that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. My phone was dying, and I was like, no way. So then I got my phone charged in like an hour, and I was like, anyway, I just thought that that was such a cool service to the library to be offering, and I saw that so many people were doing it, and that's just really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, we do. It gets a lot of use, and it's just been another service that we've responded to for people, and they love it. Thank you.
Hi, this sort of piggybacks on that, and I just want to thank you and all of the staff for what you do. The library is a really vital community service. It's gotten, it just keeps expanding in terms of what you're doing and offering to the community. And we're in really stressful times in so many ways, so I just want to say how much all of us appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I don't know if folks here know that the Howard Street Outreach team has another person now that is embedded at the library. So we have contracted with this person. His name is David Lines. He's there from Tuesday through Saturday, and this started in about February. And there are many libraries across the country now that have social workers in their spaces. And we hadn't really needed that for a while. We had Howard Street Outreach that we could call them, and they were great. But then the needs just got greater. And so we went to this model now where we've got David embedded in the library, and it has been phenomenal. He has been doing a great job. The connection with the Howard Center has been wonderful. We are open to everyone to come through our doors. The one thing we do ask is you have to behave so that everybody can enjoy the library. And for some, it's a struggle for others, more than others, depending on what's going on in their life. And by now having David there to help folks when they are struggling, they want to use the library, but there's things that are going on in their life, he can be that point person now. He can help them with the resources, and it has made a huge difference. So just wanted to point that out too. Yeah. Why?
What is your favorite banned book and favorite spooky book as a recommendation?
Oh, wow. Favorite banned book. There's so many. Yeah, I think some of my favorite banned books are young adult books. I don't know if people here read young adult books, but I always remind people that young adults will only read really good books. Like, they have to be edited well, they have to capture you, they have to do well. And one of the authors, John Green, many of his books have been banned for a variety of reasons, and I happen to love his books and find them good to go back to. As far as a spooky book, gosh, I don't really read spooky books, except I love to read spooky books to kids, because I can make all kinds of weird noises and do that kind of thing. And we have a lot of good spooky kid books too. And it invites them to learn all different kinds of new fun vocabulary.
My kiddo loves the sensory table. We can spend hours there. I have to lure him away by reminding him we gotta go get some dinner. So thank you for having a wonderful children's area with lots of fun stuff to do. And the play area. And then actually, sometimes it's me reading every book and he's ready to go. It's just like the most magical place to go and hang out for an afternoon.
I love that, thank you. And it's a good reminder that, the libraries today are all about those interactive activities, and I think our library team is amazing, our youth team is amazing, and here's the secret is like we know kids cry when they leave the library, and it's not great for the adults in their lives, but we think it's great as librarians that kids are so sad to leave our place.
I've been here a short time, about 2 years, and one thing I feel the city is quite deprived with the good music. I'm talking about classical music from South Africa, here or anywhere. Is it a possibility, maybe an innovative thing, that in one room where you have got all kinds of CDs and all kinds of, you put the good stereo system with a monitor, where the people, they can listen to the music and clear their soul.
I will take that back to our team. We have had some classical music programs over the summer, and they're not terribly well attended, but it's hard in the summer because people are all out and about. But I think we have some amazing acoustics at our library, so I will work more on getting some music programming.
You can add a cup of tea or coffee there too.
Okay. Maybe a warm blanket.
Okay.
Well, I hope you all have library cards. If you don't, please get one. And if you know someone in your life, a neighbor or a family member who doesn't have one, please encourage them to get one. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, that was excellent. Now we'll hear from Milo and Jean. Milo Grant and Jean Bergman,
Okay,
the two city
it's on.
councilors, will come up and give us an update.
Hello, my friend.
Thank you.
Likewise. The library is absolutely great. You know, it's like the proto-socialist institution, right? The Commonwealth. I'm going to start off with something quick on the F-35s and then turn to Milo. So we passed a resolution now a year plus ago that said to our congressional delegation, find something that fits here better, that is going to not be detrimental to the economy, but is not going to bombard our kids and us with all this noise pollution. And let's see what you can do. Ask the Secretary of the Air Force to find something else. Now, clearly, the election, which this came just before, threw a wrinkle in quick action, and now this administration has crumpled that, that stuff up and has thrown it into the trash can, as Lucy was saying. Who knows what they're thinking, since they obviously believe that Milo and I and probably everybody in here is an enemy of the state. So that being said, because it was directed at the congressional delegation, we've been trying to get meetings with the congressional delegation. I have had conversations with Becca's chief of staff, and she is actually very sympathetic, but Bernie and Peter Welsh are a much harder sell. But we have asked for a meeting with representatives of all of those offices to push this and to figure out how we can advance this problem, because it's not going away, obviously, right? And it seems to me that the one thing that is reinforced by the inaction is that an inside game, a Gene city councilor or Milo as city councilor just asking them to do this is insufficient. It's necessary, but it's insufficient. We need people to call the Sanders office, to call Welch's office, to call Becca's office and say, would you meet with the city council committee? They've asked you, we know you've met, that they've asked you for a meeting. Will you set up a meeting and do this? Because we've got to figure out how we can change the situation. So this is my plea to you, which is give me the movement behind me so I can say, okay, first let's meet and then let's strategize. Because the alternative of the status quo is just unacceptable, right? But we've got to be able to get the congressional delegation on the page that says status quo is unacceptable and we're going to figure out how we're going to make this change. And it's going to be hard because political strategy, I mean, we are fighting fascism. There's absolutely no doubt that these people are very serious. So this fight needs to be put into that context. And that requires us to be strategizing. And we need you to be able to get us in that door to then come back out of the door and say to folks, okay, this is where things are at. Now where do we move? So this is an iterative process, and I wanted not to lose that. This is city council business, which was not on my list, actually, of all the things that we're doing. So I'm going to start, but this is really important, obviously, for all of us. So I wanted to sort of get that out the door right now. And so calls to Sanders' office to say, we know that the council passed a resolution. We know that councilors are looking for a meeting. Please set one up and let's see if we can move this. That's a simple message. If people can do that, I know Lucy's organizing, so maybe you can do that. Thank you. And then Milo, you want me to go through my list? Okay. So let me, we probably do a bunch of overlap. So I'm just going to mention, council is doing a whole range of things, not the least of which is the stuff around public safety. Milo is like hip deep in that big muddy. But we did in the last month, and when I look at this, I think about our reports coming like month by month, so you can see what's happening is we did make progress on the overdose prevention center in terms of accepting the grant, and now the work is going to be being done around the siting. And this is a big community effort that we can talk about. Maybe Milo will talk about that more, but this is going to consume a lot of us, and you know, the big fight right now is around whether it should be close to the downtown or in the downtown. So this really affects Ward 2 as well as Ward 3, the central district. It was easy, and it was also amazingly difficult to get $1,500, Kason, for the needle pickup. I mean, sometimes I just shake my head. There was a proposal to put $1,500 to help the PJC and the folks that are doing trash pickup downtown and needle pickups on every Thursday. You think?
And they are volunteering.
And they're volunteering. And Kason is doing the yo person's job of doing that. You'd think that it would be like a no-brainer, and it would have taken us no time at all to do that. But apparently that is not the way things are. We did get it done, and we did get it done unanimously. But sometimes it feels like pulling teeth for stuff. So that's just something to keep you aware of. We've done over the last month a number of referrals to the ordinance committee. We had an ordinance that had a mandatory requirement for police and fire at the age of 60, and it related to the retirement program. So a little complicated with the other terms of employment, but people who are totally qualified physically and mentally were running up against that, and so that's something that we dealt with. There's all this like big ticket items, but at the end of the day, we're an employer that is supposed to, in my mind, be treating our employees with dignity and respect, working with the unions, believing in collective bargaining, and this is a process that took place on that. The mechanics of city government are in a lot of ways like the cleaning of your house. There's all sorts of stuff that just has to be done, and this is one of them that I think was a good work that we did. We have had a couple of ordinances referred to the ordinance committee, of which I chair, on private parking lots. The rules of what you're supposed to pay there and how transparent that is are, like non-existent, and so therefore you go into a private parking lot and you don't know what they're going to charge you. Maybe they charge you $9 an hour, or and you have to pay for 2 hours mandatory. I mean, so what's referred to our committee is an ordinance around signage and disclosure. There are also fees, apparently, on gas stations for people who use debit cards. And they can hold your bank account, which can mean that you might bounce a check, or you might not be able to pay for the food that when you go to the grocery store, the next stop after the gas station. And so that's been referred to the council. One of the big things on that one has to do with whether we have the legal authority to do anything. We've been here before asking or talking about charter changes, and charter changes are necessary because they're like special laws for the city of Burlington, because in the state of Vermont, a city or a town can't do anything unless the state lets you do it. And you can do it through a charter, and so we've got to just look to make sure that we've got the right to do that. And because my list is long and I talk a lot, I'm going to say, Milo, you go.
Okay, I will pick up some things. I want to go to the parking issue. Sometimes people go into some of the private parking lots not realizing it's a private parking lot versus a city parking lot, and then use the Park Mobile app to pay for parking, but you haven't actually paid for parking because it's a private parking lot. So if you're not actually parking on the street where the code for the parking area is visible, and you're in one of the parking lots, you really want to examine it, because their fees are significantly more, and then they penalize you if you haven't paid or if you've gone over. So it's something to really just pay attention to when being in the downtown area. I want to, community safety-wise, I just want to continue to have people really make a point to listen to the things that Chief Burke has been talking about. He was here last month, and if for some reason you didn't have a chance to catch it, I'm asking you to go back and listen to it. I think it's very important. We have someone so completely different. I know I talk about that all the time, but it's really important. And he also did a presentation about looking at data specific to downtown, especially after the resolution to make sure City Hall Park was closed 12 to 6. I did vote against that resolution. I continue to not support public safety resolutions that I don't feel do anything. When we look at the number of incidents from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m., that period of time the park is supposed to be closed. Incidents in the park account for 5 to 6% of the total incidents in the city during that time. All we've done is displace the activity. So his data showed very clearly that incidents in the park went down, but in the immediate areas around the park, they went up. So we have to be honest and true about that and understand that we can't Band-Aid this stuff. We have to continue to look at root causes and advocate for solutions and strategies that we need. So I am encouraging everyone, we have to be more active in terms of reaching out to our state representatives and reaching out to the governor. They have to find a way to work together. What's happening here, we are hearing more municipalities voicing their concerns with regard to the situation of homeless individuals. The mayor has talked about her conversations with the Newport mayor that are seeing things that they haven't seen, and they don't have anything really in place, and they're trying to take steps. We know there's problems in Montpelier, Rutland, Barry, Brattleboro. We know when we talk about the drug crisis, the Northeast Kingdom is really suffering as well. So these aren't things related to politics other than not having the political will to get something done. So we all need to be doing something. That individual email, each email adds up. The governor is starting to pay a little bit of attention, begrudgingly so, but he is starting to know that he needs to start to talk about what's happening here in Burlington, because other municipalities are now speaking up, including Montpelier. Like, how does he not see encampments in Montpelier? He's just, all right. I'll stop talking about him. You can tell he's not one of my favorite people right now. We had a joint statement on political rhetoric this past meeting. It was read partially by the mayor, Jean, the council president, Ben Travers, and the Democratic caucus leader, Mark Barlow. I want you to think about how far right the Democrats have moved if Mark Barlow is their caucus leader. After that statement was read, later in the meeting, Jean was insulted. Carter Newbeezer from Ward 1 was also insulted. So I continue to be very concerned about what are we doing, how are we communicating, and how we're treating each other, especially in this political climate that with what's going on at the federal level. Rapid fire on some things. We had a tax fairness committee report in Monday's city council meeting. That report is attached to the agenda items. I recommend that everyone go through it, take a look, and see what was discussed and some of the ideas that were presented. I want to remind everyone that the mayor continues to do weekly in-person meetups, and you can find her schedule on the city's website. You just click on government, then mayor, and you'll see when the next meetup is and where it's at and what time. She continues monthly press conferences, and Town Meeting TV has a dedicated page for that, as she continues to do updates at each city council meeting. So people can say they don't like policies, people can say they don't necessarily like decisions that are being made, but no one should be saying that she's not doing anything. That continues to be deeply problematic. It's all political. She's not doing anything. That's political. If someone says that, have them refer to which policy they have an issue with. I think that's very important. Financial disclosures. Progressives would like to see some financial disclosures. It is going to committee. I'm concerned by the pushback on that. One response was, we're volunteers. All right, we don't get paid hardly anything, but we're not volunteers. Our positions have a certain amount of influence. Our positions vote on money. Are we going, I'm sorry, it's going in and out. Our positions vote on money that's moving through the city, and people could be influenced, especially if you're in a position that's not making a lot of money. So why not have a disclosure that says, for example, what is your, what do you do for a living? The idea is like, well, anyone can just find that out. Well, why make it difficult? So that discussion I thought was very interesting, and if you have time to watch that meeting, that would be great. We talked about TIF funds, tax increment funds, which is something that the city has used for some time to help pay for development that is occurring in the downtown area and the waterfront area. One item we covered was the educational fund payment that we owe. That was determined in the last audit that was reviewed in January of 2024. The prior mayor felt there were mistakes in that audit. He felt that we didn't know the money. He said that the state auditor was bogus and all this other stuff. Well, the bottom line is we owe the education fund money, and this administration's taking care of that. We also had to do what's called a change order, which is to make sure that the $600,000 that we approved to keep Main Street open nights and weekends is paid for. I think I'm nearing the end of my list. We had a legislative review from our lobbyist. Their report is attached. I was very disappointed. I think a number of counselors on both sides of the aisles were disappointed. We are just not getting enough out of the legislature to help with some of the issues that we are facing. Their report, I think, would be an important read, and once again, emailing state reps and the governor. I want to welcome Kelly Perkins, who has been selected as the director of the Office of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging, and she started this week. I want to thank Christian Berry for her work in keeping the department running and stabilizing the department. She continues to be with the department. And the last thing I'll talk about is the Overdose Prevention Center. There is a lot of propaganda going around. For example, if people go to the overdose prevention centers, they will be given drugs to use. That is not correct. That children will be allowed without question to go in and use drugs. That is not correct. Now that we've got the funding to start to move forward, in addition to having a public process around where it should be located, there will be community engagement in that process as well as education. So I hope everyone will look out for that and participate in that. I do believe it needs to be downtown because that's the center of the activity. I don't think, and I've never said it should be on Church Street, so let's just squash that. Never, ever have I said that, and I resent that people are saying that I did. But we do need it to be in walking distance, not just with transportation. Someone who's in withdrawal, they're not going to wait. So if we really want to get people not using on our streets, and we want to give them some place to go, it has to be nearby, not on Church Street, but we have to look at what's available to us in the downtown area. And I think that's it. Do you have anything you want to add, or should we take questions?
No, let me just do two more things. We are likely to come back next month, but I'm not sure because the fourth Thursday is Thanksgiving next month as to when, but on a couple of charter changes that I think will be on the ballot. One has to do with making REIB a chartered organization within the city and sort of making it less subject to the whims of the mayor and the city council. And the second one has to do with a proposal. REIB is the Racial Equity and Inclusion and Belonging. Thank you for making me not do that. And the second one is one of the tax fairness proposals, which at this point has to do with exempting $30,000 to $50,000 of valuation from taxation. And the analysis is that it will mean that people who are in the lower valued houses will see a shift down in their property taxes, which most of the folks that are living in those are low income. So that'll come back, and we'll have the conversation here. The other one, and I see that Sarah's there, and she can maybe talk more about it as part of the comprehensive plan. But in the Transportation, Utilities, and Energy Committee, the TUC, we're talking about the city's mobility plan, and there's a whole engagement process for walking and biking and cars, and it's a big deal. And DPW is the lead on that, but it's part of this plan that you're going to be hearing about. So that's in a city council committee that I'm on, and as you get to hear about that, in addition to all of the public engagement for ordinances and for charter changes, those are 3 committees that I'm on, and you can reach out to me, and then we can get you in that process. And I think that if there's time for questions, then we can do that. If not, then
Yeah, we have some time.
Hi. Going back to the topic of parking, I just wanted to take a second and name that recently I feel like I have noticed a lot of the kiosks where you pay being out of service. So I was wondering if that is something to report in the C-Click-Fix app or some other way. Also, if you are aware, if you park in one zone and pay at another, is there a way to have that be okay so that you don't get a ticket?
So DPW is the parking enforcement department. They're a division within that department. I think C-Click-Fix is a good thing, and then also calling the main number if you have the time, maybe even the call to customer service there. It's 863-9094. But calling them might get you somebody if they answer, instead of doing it rather than the C-Click-Fix thing, in terms of the immediacy of that. And I don't know the answer to the second question, but I think the same people are going to be the people to ask.
I will also say that sometimes seeing a kiosk is a sign that it might be a private, run by a private lot, as the city is almost all, at this point, Park Mobile app. Yes, but have they gotten rid of the, as I walk around, as I often do, I will start paying more attention to that because in most of the area it's being replaced with, as they've gotten also rid of all the meters, they're just putting the code that you would put into Park Mobile. We're pretty much seeing that. So, and most of the kiosks are now related to some sort of private parking. But if you notice on in particular a kiosk on a street, let me know, and I'll definitely check it out to verify. Thank you.
But actually, one really good thing is Chapin is supposed to come as the Director of Public Works to tonight's meeting. Ask him.
I have a proposal. If you guys haven't gone through trying to eliminate the F-35s, there's an old farmer trick. If you want to keep the possum out of the hen house, you shoot one and you nail it up outside and the rest stay away. So just shoot one down and we'll nail it up in the intervale and the rest will...
Stephen Miller, this is a joke.
Any other questions, comments, discussion points?
thank you for the time that you commit to going to meetings and doing research and probably a gazillion things that I'm unaware of. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you both very much. Up next, we have Sarah and Johanna giving us an update on the comprehensive plan. Or just uploading the slides. And here we are.
Hi, everyone. Oh, can you all hear us? It sounds like you can. My name is Sarah Morgan. I am Principal Planner in the Office of City Planning, and I am here talking with my colleague Johanna about Plan BTV 2050.
Hi, everyone. I'm a small business support specialist with CEDO, and we're collaborating on this.
Yes, you'll hear more about that. Thank you so much for having us here this evening. We're really psyched to be here talking about this project. A little bit about Plan BTV 2050. This is a joint collaborative planning process, a holistic planning process across 4 departments. This is the first time in Burlington's planning history that there has been such a multidisciplinary cross-department planning effort like this one. So we are all, again, really excited about this and view this as a huge opportunity. I wanted to provide a little bit of context for that. The municipal plan for Burlington, per state statute, must be updated every 8 years. So we have been coming up on our need for updating our what we call Plan BTV. We also are in need of a transportation plan, which I believe was last updated in 2011, was it? 2011, 2013, long time ago. We are in need of a Parks and Recreation plan. The last time that was updated was 2015. And we currently do not have a community and economic development plan, which has been requested by City Council, and also we are in a high need for this. We also want to acknowledge that as a city and as departments, most of these goals are very intertwined. We cannot plan for our land use without considering economic development. We can't consider neighborhoods and growth without considering the need for high quality and accessible park space. And we can't do all of this without considering transportation. So this is a really exciting opportunity for us all to work together over the next year and a half or so and really create a holistic plan across departments. So a little bit about the project approach. Did just mention that this collaboration. Our collaboration is critical, and we want to, instead of having these silos and instead of having this plan one after another or happening in different ways, we want to acknowledge that we want this plan to reflect how Burlingtonians are existing. You don't consider transportation separate from getting to work or getting to a park. and these are all interrelated. A little bit about Plan BTV. So again, this is our comprehensive plan for the city. This is our overarching municipal plan. And under this plan, there are also several different topic-specific or neighborhood-specific elements. We have the walk-bike plan. We've had in the past the downtown and waterfront plan. I believe that one was a 2013 plan. We have the parks plan. We are currently doing Plan BTV New North End. We have the net zero energy plan and the open space plans. So a lot going on there, and really wanting that to reflect this kind of idea. So these elements will coincide with some of the planning efforts that have already been done. One thing I do want to note is that with these plans, these set the stage, and the municipal plan sets the kind of strategic roadmap for actions in the future. And we are excited that after Plan BTV 2050, we want to be able to conduct area plans for both the Old North End, which does not have a neighborhood plan, as well as the East End of Burlington. In 2019, the South End had the first neighborhood plan that was adopted by the city. And then now soon, hopefully in the new year, we're going to be looking at the adoption of the New North End plan. So excited for this to lead to more planning and visioning for different neighborhoods. So again, the municipal plan really focuses a lot on the land use and the kind of comprehensive look at zoning, opportunities for changes of zoning, and the consideration for more housing units. We are looking to coordinate and prioritize recent planning efforts while also, again, keeping in mind that holistic planning effort, and establish this vision, this 8-year, though it updates every 8 years, we are really forward thinking and thinking a lot about how we can live equitably in the future. As part of this, we also are working with our friends over at DPW on the transportation plan. You know, we have a ton of different transportation plans and efforts that have happened over the last decade or so, and with a lot of the considerations that must be made in the municipal plan, including the plan for 7,000 new homes as per the state and the county housing needs assessment, our climate targets, the need for considerations of multimodal transportation. We are again wanting to coordinate and prioritize alongside the transportation team in DPW and create opportunities based on that synergy there.
Hi, everyone. As Sarah mentioned, the city currently doesn't have a comprehensive economic development strategy, and so that's something it's been a goal for a long time, and we're going to make it happen now. So while we don't have a specific economic development strategy, economic development has been interwoven in all the other Plan BTV processes. So it's not like there are no strategies exist. They've just been part of the comprehensive plan, and we're going to make something a little more robust still within the comprehensive plan. And it's super crucial at this moment because, as you've all experienced since the last Plan BTV in 2019, we had the COVID-19 pandemic, and a lot has changed for our businesses downtown. Decreased foot traffic, more people shopping online. Behaviors have changed downtown. We have the rising rates of homelessness, also rising housing costs, vacant buildings, reduction in business revenue. And so there's shift and a lot has changed, and so it's really important that we re-examine and define our economic development strategies this year.
Awesome. And with that, one of the benefits of looking at this citywide is being able to consider the economic development strategies across Burlington. I know that through Plan BTV New North End, we've heard a lot of desire for different types of businesses up in the New North End, but also wanting to consider and ensure that we are not pulling away any possible business from downtown or from other parts of the city. So really wanting to look at this citywide and come up with a strategy of how all neighborhoods can really have access to these spaces and businesses. And lastly, the Parks and Rec and Waterfront piece. Parks and Rec has, though it does not have a requirement for updating, we acknowledge that these three different elements would definitely need to consider parks, and their plan was completed in 2015, so 10 years later, what a great time to update that. There's a lot that can be done as part of this plan. I know that Roosevelt Park was recently updated, and now this is our opportunity to kind of take a look at other parks and other opportunities, and also evaluating the goals and values of our park space, reviewing different systems of parks, and also considering and taking a look at the effectiveness of different programs and evaluating prioritizing different projects when it comes to our park spaces. So we are starting this process off now with a series of visioning workshops, and I want to invite you all to attend the Old North End Visioning Workshop, which is going to take place on Thursday, October 23rd, right here, 2 weeks from now. Very exciting. And what we're going to be talking about here is really setting the stage for what this comprehensive plan is going to look like and what this engagement plan will be. Though we are not really formally, it's not a formal kind of plan kickoff, it's almost a precursor to that, where we're able to identify values of the community now and then follow up over the winter with a confirmation of these values. And once we get our consultant team on board, we're able to say, like, this is what we've heard so far, and really dive into the more intensive engagement.
Sarah, question. The visioning session, like, what's the format? Is a certain time people come, or?
That's an excellent question. So the format is more of an open house style. We know that 5:30 to 7:30, there's a lot going on in people's lives. So we've formatted this to be more of a come and go as you can. You walk on in, you'll see us and several of our colleagues posted up at many different boards across the space. And we do ask that you go to our website and please register, because we are hoping to have food and would love a semi-accurate head count for this. But yes, you attend and you're able to really walk around and explore and kind of immerse yourselves in these different elements and we're really excited to talk about what was identified for strategies in 2019 and other subsequent plans before and after 2019, and what has been done between then and now, and what people still want to see more of, and what residents still consider to be priorities, and what's missing.
So bring all your friends, because we want as much input as possible to have a very accurate vision for the Old North End and the city in general.
And this is not the last opportunity. This is not the only opportunity to participate in this plan. This is, like I've mentioned, a very long, I think 18-month process with a lot of different waves and phases of engagement, different types of engagement. We're hoping to have lots of fun events. You'll see us many times, I'm sure, in the next year. And we'll also have a lot of online opportunities for feedback as well. Any questions? Is everyone going to make it? Woo! Awesome.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah and Joanna.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, and then so next up we have Chapin Spencer giving an update on the Department of Public Works.
Awesome. I don't have the slides set up yet, so.
Rogers sent them to.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much.
And you got a mic, and just that up. Yeah.
There we go. Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Number of friendly faces here. Chapin Spencer, Director of Public Works. I'm going to run through the slides quickly so we can get to a conversation. That's the most important part of this. Public Works is a broad entity. For those who don't know, we steward Burlington's infrastructure and environment through water, wastewater, stormwater, through traffic, parking, walking, biking, a whole range of assets across our city. Here, what informs our work? We receive direction from a number of different sources, and our job is to balance all this. We certainly get priorities from the City Council, from the mayor, from our policies and our plans. You just heard about the comprehensive plan here, and our transportation plan will be a part of that. Private development. There may be a development going in, such as Cambrian Rise, and we need to coordinate the streets and sidewalks and intersections to interface with development. And then there's available funding. There's at times grant sources for projects that we weren't planning to do, but up comes a huge opportunity for a $15 or $20 million grant, and we look at what projects we can get in gear. Next. As I was saying, it's a broader range of assets. It is humbling to keep the city running 24/7. Our water plant is staffed 24/7 around the clock. Our wastewater plants, anytime it rains, we have people on standby to make sure the plant is running well when flows are high. It is a dizzying array of assets and an aging array of assets, but together it keeps the largest city in Vermont running. Next. So I want to thank everybody here for participation in Town Meeting Day in 2025 in March. We were very pleased to see the public support 3 different bonds for renovating our assets in our city. The largest approval was for a wastewater bond to overhaul our 3 wastewater plants. That one was $152 million. There was a $20 million bond for the water plant and associated assets, specifically the reservoir up by UVM. And 3 was a $20 million bond for general obligation for general fund assets such as streets and sidewalks. And what you're seeing here on the right is a map showing all the paving and sidewalk work that's been done since 2017 when we launched the Sustainable Infrastructure Plan. Next. So folks are often curious about what's upcoming with paving and sidewalk work. We know in the Old North End, sidewalks are of great importance. We have 95 miles of road in the city. 5 miles are paved by the state of Vermont because they're state roads. The remaining 90 miles are city responsibility. Travis, you've been to enough of these presentations at the DPW Commission. If I get anything wrong, let me know. About 11% of our roads are below standard. You all could probably identify those 11% pretty easily. To sustainably replace and repave our roads, we should be repaving 4 miles a year because asphalt typically lasts about 20 years. You all know streets that haven't been paved in your lifetime and are struggling. This year, without the Town Meeting Day funds, because the funds were just approved in March, so we won't be ready to program them until next construction year. This year, we're only able to pave about 1 mile, so far short of the sustainable 4-mile level. Sidewalks, we're a little bit better off. We have 130 miles of sidewalk. The same level of deterioration pretty much with paving, where about 13% of our sidewalks are in poor to failed condition. And we should be replacing sidewalks because they last longer at about 3 miles per year. So paving should be 4 to 5 miles a year. Sidewalks should be 3 miles a year. We're getting somewhat close to that this year, and we will be exceeding that next year with the Town Meeting Day funding. You're seeing a map right there of what's being paved either this fall or next spring. You all saw Archibald getting paved, and Pearl Street and College Street are next. You're seeing Pearl and College on this map are getting repaved either this fall or next spring, likely this spring now due to contractor coordination. And in the red, thinner lines, you're seeing sidewalk work that has been underway this season. Next. So the current contract here, I won't go through all those streets, a number of them in the Old North End, Archibald and Walnut and Pearl Street on the edge, are all part of this season's paving contract. When we can, we coordinate, which is very often with all of the utilities and traffic calming requests and stormwater so that we're not paving a street and then digging it up a couple of months later. So we were excited on Archibald Street to put in a number of traffic calming elements, and we are doing some traffic calming on Ethan Allen Parkway as well, right next to the school. Next. So the current sidewalk contract, you're seeing work here from this season. Those are what we call long runs. We also do short runs. If people have concerns with condition of sidewalk, please submit a C-Click Fix ticket or give us a call on the phone at 863-9094. These are the streets, the long runs this year, but we also do the short runs if there's a safety issue because one panel is heaved, for example. Next. So you're seeing here, now looking forward, because of your vote on town meeting day, we will be doing a lot more paving and sidewalk work, about 9 miles of paving over the next 3 years. So instead of 1 mile of paving a year, the bond funding will support around 3 miles of paving a year. And in sidewalk production, we'll be doing about that 3 mile marker each year, a little shy of that. So you're seeing a small map on the bottom right. This is a working draft of by year and areas that we will be replacing sidewalk in the community. The black lines are projects that have already been completed, and the colored lines are projects forthcoming. Next. And we will be bringing that map in a little bit more detail to the Public Works Commission in November. So there will be an opportunity for folks, if you want to get into the details and why we prioritize certain streets over others, please come to the commission meeting in November. I will just really quickly touch on the major capital projects underway right now. Gray Street's Main Street. I don't know if people have been downtown recently, but the public art is going in. The plants have gone in. We are enabling to allow on-street parking more on nights and weekends. It really is moving towards a finished arrangement, which I know people are very interested to see given the multi-year nature of the construction. We are ahead of schedule on this project and are currently looking to complete the project on budget. Next. Champlain Parkway, 50 years in the making. That project too is looking at a summer 2026 completion. Project is going well and is on time and on budget in its final construction phase. Next. Our next upcoming large capital project is reconnecting Bank and Cherry. As many of you know, urban renewal knocked down 27 acres of downtown back in the 70s and knocked down not only an Italian neighborhood, but a whole residential community was displaced. Through this project, through private development, a neighborhood is getting reestablished back downtown. And the north-south streets that used to run through our downtown are, after 70 years, getting reestablished. So you'll be able to walk from the old North End and go north-south into downtown without having to go, just on Church Street, for example. A major success story. So I'm really excited. These new streets should be open end of 2027.
Sorry, you said you should be able to walk. Oh, gosh, thank you.
Yeah.
And is it going to be a road that you can drive, or is it going to be just walking? And there are pros and cons to both.
Yeah. So the answer is it's different on each street. So Pine Street and St. Paul Street are the streets that are getting reconnected. South Champlain Street was basically ended. The right-of-way was sold off, and South Champlain Street will never likely be a north-south street again. There's buildings over top of South Champlain Street. However, to get Pine Street reconnected, we're going under 100 Bank Street, which is the building that, by the high school. If you go up Pine Street, it kind of is the building right in front of you. We're going underneath that building to get up to Cherry Street for driving and walking. It's going to be a full, yes. It used to be a parking garage, and currently it's owned by Redstone. It has a Vermont Gifts store right on the first floor of it. And we have worked very well with the property owner, Redstone. I want to thank them a lot for coordinating a approach to be able to align city right-of-way underneath their building and reestablish Pine Street for vehicles, walking, and biking. On St. Paul Street will be open as a full street for walking, biking, and driving between Cherry and Bank, where the redevelopment is, but the transit center will be staying between Cherry and Pearl. So where the transit center is, you'll only be able to walk, you can't drive. So a little bit of a nuance, but those two new streets are the blue streets you're seeing that connect Bank to Cherry right there. You're seeing construction start on those streets. They have started partial construction, but we won't be able to finish until the private development finishes that big City Place project so that we can get in where they are staging work. Next. Thanks to your support on town meeting day, we are underway with the first phase of the complete overhaul of our main wastewater plant and then partial overhauls of North Plant and turning East Plant into a pump station. I was pleased to be at a groundbreaking for the first phase, which is focused on the headworks, which is the initial phase, at the initial treatment phase at the wastewater treatment plant. There's more information on our website about this. This will enable main plant to handle more flows, and by being able to handle more flows, we'll be able to accept more development in the community. We don't want to be a barrier to the desire of the community to build more housing. Next. Something new. Has anybody heard about fall clean sweep coming? A few of us. Okay. So phosphorus enters Lake Champlain in many ways. One of the ways that phosphorus enters Lake Champlain is through leaf litter and grit that is in our roadways and over the winter deteriorates and washes into the storm drains and hits Lake Champlain. Our goal is to clean up the streets before winter arrives. We've always done a spring clean sweep. We've never done a fall clean sweep. So this means there's going to be another round of getting your cars off the street, one night in the Old North End and then one night in various other parts of town. So please look at the schedule. We will fly our cars the night before. We will have VT alert and other advisory sources. But this is not only a water quality benefit, but also a help for making our roads more safe for walking and biking, more aesthetic, etc. So next, along with Clean Sweep is the usual fall leaf pickup. It'll be the same week. It's going to be on your recycling day. This is an ongoing service we like to provide. This is for bagged leaves that you've brought from your property into the green belt. We will pick them up and send them to the compost facility to turn into compost free of charge. Next. And here are opportunities to connect with us, our website. We still need crossing guards. We're closer to being fully staffed than we have been in years. We have 33 positions around the city. About 26 of them are covered right now. The kids deserve our help to get safely to school, so please consider being a crossing guard. It's about $20 an hour, and we can have people work split shifts. If you can only do morning, that's fine. If you can only do afternoon, that's okay. If you can do both, bonus. There are other ways to connect with us and reach out, and I'm happy to answer questions. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you, Chapin. Does anyone have any questions? All right.
Try not to ask too many. Hi, Chapin.
Thanks, Lucy.
Lucy on Blodgett,
Yeah.
and a lot of great stuff happening. Two things. I know you ride your bike a lot, and I'm right around the corner of North Street, and we're still having horrible potholes and really dangerous stuff for bikes on North Street.
On North Street?
Yeah. There's other places that are kind of scary too, but it's hard to stay on the street in a safe way on a bike there. But I have noticed, and I feel really good about some of the new bike lanes that are happening, and very well marked, and I'm really, really excited about that. I'm just curious if our drought is impacting our water in any way. If you could talk about that, and when the Main Street construction might actually be complete.
Great, thanks. Good news, our water source is secure. We get our water from Lake Champlain, but the inlet pipe is about 30 feet down. While the lake is currently down about 10 feet, it has never gone below 10 or 11 feet down. And so our inlet pipe is well below that. And so we are in a more secure position than some other communities. As it relates to Main Street, Great Streets, the deadline for finishing that project is June or July 2026, and we are expecting to meet that, if not beat that. We are hoping that by the end of this season, what I will say is by the end of this season, by Thanksgiving, we'll have a winter shutdown. All streets, all sidewalks will be open through the winter. Two-way traffic for a bit of normalcy. We know it's been a hard couple of years. Yeah. And that two-way traffic is through to the start of construction season, April of 2026. There may be some lane closures from April to June to finish the project.
Hi, Nora Ahrens. I live
Hi, Nora.
at the tail end of North Union, right by the food shelf. I just wanted to quickly go back to the leaf pickup. You mentioned being in bags. Is there any specification on like paper, plastic? So
Yep, paper
that they
bags
don't
that
get
we
left
can
behind.
compost. Yep, any hardware store will have paper bags, and happy to take as many. Some people get 30, 40 bags out in front of their house. We'll take them all.
Just with regards to Lucy's comment about North Street, specifically Elmwood to North Winooski, in the eastbound direction, where there's no cars parked, it is pretty chewed up. So bikes end up in the middle of the lane, and it's just busy in the morning.
You said Elmwood Avenue? in particular?
Between Elmwood and North Winooski on North Street.
Okay.
Yeah. That one is, you mentioned it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm on that every day, and I'm like, ah.
On North.
Hi, thank
Hello.
you for this
Yeah.
presentation. It's great. I have a follow-up about the leaf pickup. I'm sorry, the clean sweep.
Yep,
That's at night?
that's correct.
Okay, so ours is Monday, November 10th, and that's during the night?
Yes,
Okay.
it's overnight.
Okay.
So the parking prohibition starts at 10 p.m. and goes through 7 a.m. the next morning.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And then, just writing that down.
And the parking garages do have free parking for anybody who doesn't have an off-street space for cars.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah.
And also, thank you so much for Archibald. It's great.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned often about older adults with wheelchairs or walkers and kids with strollers and all of the, I don't even know what you call it, but between the sidewalk and the street.
The curb ramps.
The curb ramps have been really well done, so thank you. The speed bumps, some of the signs have fallen, and so I'm worried about people flying along there because they're not painted.
Yep,
And are they going to be?
they are going to be.
Okay. And then the crosswalk right in front of IAA, one of those has not been painted yet.
Okay,
But-
crosswalk, got it.
That's great. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Well, I really appreciate everybody's patience with that. We did work a traffic calming project into it and have also accommodated a couple of trees because Archibald has really struggled to accommodate trees. So instead of just painting the road black and calling it good, we're going in early. What water mains need to be done? What traffic calming requests do we have? So it sometimes means we're a little slow to get to a street because of all the coordination, but when we get there, we'll try and to get it done right.
Yeah, and we also had someone from your department was presented earlier in the spring and talked about the traffic calming, which so was a nice tie-in with everything.
Yeah.
Gracious.
Okay. Hey, Chapin.
Hey, Sean.
Should have asked you this the other day.
Yeah.
I was the two-way bike lane on North Champlain Street, my
Yeah.
street. I'm just curious.
Glad to know it's your street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
No, I mean, not the whole thing. Just
The
like
next
one
time we need
very
to pave
small
it.
part of it. I'm wondering if you could bring that. Yeah. I'm wondering if you could bring that bike lane, right into my driveway. That'd be great. But it's great. It's really cool. I obviously take it every day and see people who are very excited about it, but I was curious why it was sort of partially the way up the street, whether that had to do with Vermont Paint or something like that.
Right. Good question. I was trying to think of some funny retort, but it didn't come to me. Cost and connectivity. So the connectivity we were seeking to connect was from the Pearl Street bike lanes to the Old North End Greenway, which got some improvements this year. We got rid of the planters. I know they had been tagged a lot along the Greenway. Thanks for people's patience. Now we've gotten rid of the planters. So that's a first phase. Our intent is to keep going and to get to the school and get through the Old North End. We are trying the protected two-way lanes. This is new. This is going to take a fair bit more winter maintenance on our part to maintain bike lanes that are curb separated. We're going to learn a lot through this, and our hope is to continue with an approach that works. We're using concrete curbing that's movable. We're going to give this a try. The original proposal that we had, which was to go the whole way up to Manhattan Drive, came in way over budget. We couldn't afford it. We did get a grant, but it didn't pay for enough. So this was what we could bite off to start.
For the Vermont Paint section, I know they have like deliveries there. That's a big rate for them. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Having being able to get their trucks still in there. I'm just throwing that out there.
When we get to that next phase, we're going to need to work with them to figure out how they can get their deliveries. They're a long-time business, as we all know, and we want to figure out how they can keep going while accommodating the modern transportation needs of the city. I really wish our streets were wider in many ways, because then we'd have more opportunity to retrofit them, but we are a narrow New England community.
Yes. First, I want to say I really like the protected bike lanes. I ride my bike every day, and it's really great. I'm really grateful for them. I ride my bike. I have work at the bottom of Depot Street, and I was just wondering, my commute, I have to be there at 8:30, and I notice a lot of bikes end up just using the double wide sidewalk, which is fine because it's a double wide, instead of going down on the road on Depot Street because there's not a bike lane. It's a 2-lane, really steep hill, and I think a lot of bikers have an agreement that it's not worth it.
Are you talking Battery Street, not
Yes.
Depot Street?
Yes. Yes,
Got
I
it.
am.
Now I'm with you.
Yeah, Depot Street is the only, there are no cars on there. Yeah, I'm talking about Battery Street. That's actually where I work.
Great.
But yeah, I know you're doing a lot of great things, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
bring that up because I definitely see a lot of bikers in the morning and after work.
Well, since you mentioned Depot Street first, even though that wasn't the intent, I will take the opportunity and tell you that tentatively that is on the list for next year. We're really for Depot Street to be repaved. We've really struggled with a limited budget. We've really struggled, and it keeps getting knocked off because other higher traveled streets are falling apart. But Depot Street needs attention. It is tentatively on the list for next year. The second piece for Battery Street, we just finished a corridor study looking at how to improve Battery Street. The full rebuild that we're envisioning, which is including a 4 to 3 lane road diet for the corridor, is an expensive proposition. So it's $31 million estimate right now. So it's not happening tomorrow. That said, repaving of Battery Street is also happening in the next 2 to 3 years, as you know, many sections of Battery Street are in poor shape. So we're going to look at, is there an interim design option that gets us partway there when we repave? So we're thinking to see if there's something interim, and we'll certainly be engaging the community in that conversation.
Debbie Krugi-Pudi, North Champlain Street is also my street.
Wow, there are a lot of people who own North Champlain Street. I learned something.
Yep. And yeah, we're a co-op. And,
Perfect.
You put it in right on my birthday, so I thank you. And it was a wonderful birthday present, and I use it every day, and I like really try to be very visible, like, yeah, I'm using it, woo. And I do live a little bit past the paint shop, so it doesn't extend down to me, but it's all right. I figured it out. I'm good for the time being. And then in your paving, just a thought, pave the bike portions, but then leave the car portions real potholy. So they go slow and we go fast. Just don't fix it. That saves so much money.
Taking notes.
Thank you. Is there a way for bike racks to be put at the transit center? That's always been an issue.
Yes, okay.
And thank you.
Yep. Got it.
One more up front.
Appreciate all the interest in the work. It's
Okay, I do
Great to see.
actually, hi, Nora again.
Nora again, yes.
Yep. Do have a bus question, would now be the appropriate, okay. Just generally, where are we at with that as a city in terms of funding, budget, routes, cutback? The number 8 stops 5 feet from my bedroom window. However, it is the only bus, my understanding, that runs once an hour.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for the question. I have been on the board of GMT for 22 years now and was very proud to expand GMT beyond Chittenden County to start the Link Express bus routes to St. Albans, to Middlebury, to Montpelier, to grow the system, and then COVID came. And while COVID brought COVID relief funds, it sent GMT into a kind of existential moment of having to re-envision ourselves. Financially, we have struggled to maintain service. You know, we recently had to implement service cuts. There is some positive news. We still have not solved the long-term funding for GMT. Thank you to folks for continuing to pay fares now that we've reinstated fares. Believe it or not, fares pay a critical 10% of our budget, that if we didn't have fares, we would have to have higher property taxes or have worse service. So thank you for that. The good news, tentatively, I'm on the Finance Committee, and just this morning we looked at trends headed towards 27. And I am hoping that we will not need to implement any more service reductions in the coming year. Nothing's final. We're working to try to avoid that through a number of strategies. The one wild card is that the state is wanting that GMT's rural routes get passed on to other providers so that GMT's work in Franklin County, in Lamoille, in Washington County would get transferred to other providers. And so the question is of the remaining operations, what would our budget be? So we're still working through that. Our goal is to increase service, not decrease service. We need to do a better job. The 1 hour service on the number 8, with it ending, I think, at 6:15, is not the kind of transit that you or I want. We are going to the legislature trying to find different ways to fund transit, which is a much longer conversation, but if people are interested, I'm happy to stay after.
Actually, I got a quick one about Archibald Street.
Yeah.
So the speed bumps, humps, whatever you call those things, those are about the largest I've ever seen. They're really large. So I'm kind of curious why they made them that high. And the second thing is the bump signs have fallen over.
Yeah.
And so some vehicles are hitting those bumps.
Right.
And their vehicles are launching.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking is every time they put in something like that, it might be a good idea to just take some cheap white paint
Yeah.
and just paint some of the hump so that people can see that there's actually something there. Some people don't pay attention to the bump signs. Sometimes the bump signs aren't there.
It's a really good point. We need to do a better job of making sure the signs stay up when it's a temporary installation. I'm going to follow up on this first thing tomorrow morning. It's not a safe situation. If we change the conditions on the road, people need to know the conditions are changed. So thank you for flagging that.
The stop sign, as part of that on Archibald, is also right in front of IAA.
Yep.
I watched cars go through it this afternoon. They didn't stop because they couldn't see the stop sign because that's temporary right now,
Okay.
which is up on the sidewalk. So, and especially because
Yeah.
it's near the school, that's pretty dangerous. So, thank you.
Great. And I was remiss, Nora, in sharing that the Transportation, Energy, and Utilities Committee of the City Council has been very involved in the GMT funding issue. Councilor Bergman particularly has been a great advocate and did help us get a couple $100,000 last year for service, which did insulate us from further cuts. So it is a good partnership. We're struggling to get more political support at the state level. But having Councilor Bergman and others involved in this conversation is helping us get more traction. So,
Hi, I just wanted to mention that I am so appreciative of the work that has been done on Archibald, and because I live on Intervale, so I'm constantly walking past J&M's and on that area, and that intersection is like a masterpiece compared to what it looked like before. It's so much easier. It's so much narrower. Like walking across is so much better. I really appreciate the speed bumps too, but I echo that like they're weird. They're weird. They're weird right now because they're hard to see. But like people have been speeding past that area and they're not as much. So it's much easier for pedestrians and cyclists right now, which has been great. So just wanted to thank you.
yeah. Thank you for that feedback, and I'm glad yes, the speed humps, we're trying to move away from the short, narrow, aggressive speed hump into what's more like a speed table. It does allow vehicles to travel more smoothly at a 20-mile-an-hour speed as opposed to having to slow down to 10 miles an hour and then gun it faster once they pass it. It allows a more continuous progression, which we find to be safer.
Okay. Any other questions?
Councilor Grant.
Thank you. I'm up and down that street all the time, but I can't remember. Is there a speed limit sign on Archibald?
I don't know.
It would be great to confirm that, and if not, I think we could use it.
Okay.
Because I definitely understand like people needing to get used to the speed bump, but they really shouldn't need to be used to the speed bump. If they weren't driving the way they've been driving, I think we understand each other. Thank you.
I think we do, and the city does have a citywide 25-mile-an-hour speed limit everywhere unless otherwise marked. But that said, on key arterials where you're not seeing full compliance, we're happy to add signs.
It's a huge cut through from
It is. Yep. Correct. So right. I know I'm the only thing between you and the raffle, so I don't want to overstay my welcome.
And this might be something to speak with you after, but in terms of public transit and funding, I've often wondered if developers play any part in facilitating some of that, in that, like when Cambrian Rise went in, it was, they were saying that, well, people will ride bikes and take transit, but if that's not, if the systems aren't there, that's not going to happen.
Right.
And I don't know, anyway.
So Councilor Bergman is working to advance TDM, Transportation Demand Management, and so we are looking through the zoning process and the permit process to require developers to have certain commitments to incentivize their tenants and their residents to use these varied forms of transit. So Cambrian Rise put a car share location and a pod there. They will be redoing the intersection at their main intersection with North Ave and putting in bus shelters there. So we continually need to work on getting better, that as part of new development, that we get the developers to participate in encouraging alternative modes of transit.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm sure.
Clearly there are these incredible missed opportunities. And so we did put in transportation demand management a while ago as part of the deal to eliminate parking minimums. So, in trying to improve the affordability of housing, we eliminated the requirement that there be a minimum number of parking spaces for a development. But that is a windfall for developers, and there was nothing until we made them put in a requirement to do TDM, Transportation Demand Management, as an offset, and that includes like buying bus passes. But the link with the zoning process and the bus company, we need to make that significantly stronger. It's something that has been a message, so thank you for allowing me to harp on my message here.
Yeah. Thanks, Councilor Bergman. There's a strong alignment in interest between staff and council on this, and one of the potential silver linings of GMT contracting to Chittenden County is that it can focus really on the urban needs of Vermont, because trying to support 4 different counties across and outside of Chittenden County is a challenge, and also serve the needs of the urban area. So I'm hopeful that there is a silver lining there if we can focus on the urban needs of Vermont.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Chabe.
Thank
That was
you.
a great presentation.
All right.
All right. Has everyone put their name in for the raffle? Okay. Looks like a lot of names.
I picked myself. Am I allowed to pick myself? Yes.
Yeah.
I win.
Nice.
Do you want,
Lauren wins. So let me just want to say on behalf of the steering committee, thank you all. Thank you to our presenters. Thank you, Barbara, and thank you, Travis. Good night.